Even though they're one of the most popular ways to travel long distances, airplanes remain somewhat enigmatic and evoke countless questions. Can a plane fly if one engine is out? Do the wings do all the flying? But most importantly, why, after choosing a window seat, are you sometimes stuck looking at a wall? Well, let's dive into this, shall we? 1. The pressurized air in the passenger cabin is as dry as the Sahara Desert, with only about 20% humidity. That's why your skin may feel tight and your lips chapped during a flight. It makes sense to install humidifiers that could add some moisture, but this extra load would cost airlines too much money. Plus, the plane's frame is mostly made of aluminum and other metals, and humid air could lead to corrosion. So, plan to wear some moisturizer and some lip balm instead. 2. Every 37 seconds, a plane takes off or lands at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport. They've tried to stop this particular plane, but no, every 37 seconds it goes off. Nah, just kidding. It's a bunch of planes doing that. 3. The wings are just one of the flight's crucial components. There must be 4 forces for a plane to be able to fly. They have to push an aircraft forward, up, down, and slow it down. These forces are thrust, lift, drag, and weight. So, when someone says flying's a drag, hey, they're partially right. 4. With time, there is increasingly more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and that's why turbulence is getting worse and more frequent. 5. The Boeing 747-8, one of the world's largest commercial airplanes, has enough electrical capacity to power almost 500,000 flat-screen TVs. 6. Try to avoid cozying up under airplane blankets. Some airlines only wash them about once a month. Better use your own travel blanket, a scarf, or a jacket. 7. The BD-BD-5 Micro holds a Guinness World Record for being the smallest and lightest jet. This baby can seat one person and weighs just a bit more than a giant panda. 8. The Airbus A380 is the world's largest commercial aircraft. It can carry up to 853 passengers, and its wingspan is bigger than the airplane itself. The aircraft's body is 240 feet long, while the wings stretch for 260 feet. Mind you, that's approaching Lady Liberty's height. 9. And the world's largest and heaviest aircraft is the Antonov AN-225. This giant can take off while carrying 240 tons of its own cargo and weight, and that's heavier than 3 single-story houses. 10. The dirtiest place on a plane isn't the bathroom, it's your tray table. It has 8 times more bacteria than an onboard flush toilet button. 11. Voyager was the first plane to fly around the world without refueling or stopping. The flight took place in 1986 and continued for 9 days, 3 minutes, and 44 seconds. 12. At any moment, there are 61,000 people traveling by plane over the U.S. and around 5,000 aircraft carrying them. 13. More than a third of your taste buds don't work when you're in the air. That's why even the tastiest dishes and drinks may seem bland and unappetizing. 14. Only 5% of the Earth's population has ever been on a plane. Most of those who do travel by plane are regular flyers. 15. Inside a Boeing 747, there are around 140 miles of wiring, which is half as long as the Grand Canyon. The weight of all this wiring is as heavy as a mid-size sedan. 16. While traveling by plane, you may feel like you're moving unimaginably high off the ground. But in fact, the average cruising altitude of most commercial aircraft is only 7% of the distance to space. 17. Airplanes not only get hit by lightning, they can also trigger it. When your aircraft is flying through a cloud, its friction with the surrounding air creates static electricity that can cause lightning. But even if a plane is struck, the electrical current won't do any harm to a modern aircraft. On average, lightning strikes every commercial jet at least once a year. 18. During a 3-hour flight, your body loses 10 glasses of water, putting you at risk of dehydration. And if you're dehydrated, your jet lag will probably be much worse. 19. If flying first class doesn't sound so exciting anymore, you can try the Residence by Etihad Airways. It's a 3-room apartment with a bed, vanity, armchair, and onboard shower. But the ticket will cost you tens of thousands of dollars depending on your destination. 20. Even though airplanes can easily handle minus 60 degrees at their cruising altitude, it's very different on the ground. If the temperature drops below minus 40 degrees, jet fuel freezes and the plane can't take off. Extra cold temperatures in the air don't affect aircraft so much because once a plane starts moving, the fuel heats up while passing through the engine. 21. There are planes that can fly with one engine shut down without any problems. For example, the Boeing 787 Dreamliner can safely transport its passengers on one engine for 5.5 hours before it needs to land. However, if your plane only has one engine, like many private aircraft, and it shuts down, well, then you get to practice your gliding. 22. A Boeing 767 tanker carries enough fuel to fill the tanks of 1,200 minivans. Now, I'm just guessing here, but I think the challenge is getting all those minivans to a high enough altitude to do the refueling. 23. Airplane windows and seats don't always match up, so choosing a window seat doesn't guarantee you'll have a great view of the Earth from above. In a large commercial aircraft, for example, Airbus or Boeing, seat placements depend on the airline. In business and first class, passengers have more legroom and overall personal space than in economy class. And if it's a low-cost airline, chairs are typically crammed inside the cabin. But windows always stay in a fixed position. That's why the seats sometimes match up with the windows and sometimes they don't. 24. The late great Concorde, the fastest commercial airplane ever, could fly at twice the speed of sound when it was in use. It held the record for the fastest transatlantic flight. The trip from New York to London took the Superjet just 3 hours. It usually takes 7. 25. The average cruising speed of a commercial airliner is 575 miles per hour, which is almost 3 times faster than the speed of a Lamborghini Gallardo and over 4 times faster than a tornado wind's gusts. How's that for a wacky comparison? 26. Mercury isn't allowed on flights because even a small amount of this liquid metal can seriously damage the aluminum most planes are made of. The problem is that mercury combines with aluminum all too eagerly, and when it does, this disrupts a protective layer that keeps aluminum from corroding. 27. While drivers can't for obvious reasons, pilots can and do sneak in a nap. That's why at some point in your flight, the plane is likely to be controlled only by the autopilot. When 500 pilots were interviewed, 43% of them admitting to falling asleep behind the wheel, and 31% said they'd woken up next to their sleeping co-pilot at least once. 28. In case of an emergency, oxygen masks only have enough airflow to last for about 15 minutes. Luckily, it's just the amount of time the plane needs to find a suitable landing place, or at least to descend to an altitude where people won't need oxygen masks anymore. 29. Though it doesn't exist yet, there is a concept of a plane with a detachable passenger cabin. It would let pilots eject the cabin if one or both engines fail. After that, the cabin would fall gently and safely toward the ground thanks to several massive parachutes. Unfortunately, most crashes happen not because of engine failure mid-flight, but during takeoff and landing. And in these circumstances, the whole detachable cabin idea is not so good. 30. Even though it's not one of the FAA's rules, a lot of airlines insist that their pilots and co-pilots eat different meals. Then, if one of them gets food poisoning, the other will be able to fly the plane. 31. The first company that offered its customers online check-in was Alaska Airlines, and it happened in 1999. At first, this system was available to a limited number of passengers and worked only for select flights. Oh, how the times have changed. 32. The white trails airplanes leave in the sky are nothing but condensation. That's why they're called contrails. As part of the combustion process, an aircraft releases hot water vapor, and it gets pumped out of the exhaust and freezes in the cold air of the upper atmosphere. So there! Hey, if you learned something new today, then give the video a like and share it with a friend. Here are some other videos I think you'll enjoy. Just click to the left or right. And remember, stay on the bright side of life.